I started to make music around the time your name came out, and it's influenced my musical direction. And by that, I mean it's ended up aggressively weeb. Here's a comparison between a song I made back in 2017, inspired by Kataware Doki. Back then, I didn't have any music theory knowledge. I took the same chord progression and took the inspiration from the same melodic ideas, with an emphasis on the perfect fifth interval and this octave jump up into stepping down. That perfect fifth interval fits more of Date's melody, but you get the idea. This soundtrack has been stuck in my head for a long time, because I live in the past. But in this video, I wanted to see what I could learn from these 5 tracks, through leaving my comfort zone and active listening, in hopes to make something that can get me closer to the music I truly want to make and care about, which is... I started off with a simple melody that makes you feel like you're frolicking in the fields of melancholy. What? The melody and progression was inspired by Date, and I wanted to expand my ideas through this single melody. I had to stay aware of how habitual my music creating might be in order to have more intention of what I'm making. I changed this arpeggiation because it's a mindless habit of mine to make the song sound fuller, and instead made it more staccato and playful, similar to that of this soundtrack here. And then I let it into arpeggiation that also eases into a key change to make it feel frantic, kinda like if you had butterflies in your stomach or a bad case of diarrhea. I added guitar, staccato strings, like a reverse piano that goes like wah, a shitty sounding flute, and turned the piano into an orchestral with a call and response melody. It made me learn how hard it was to make things sound realistic, and my current way to do that was to just hope that it sounds good altogether. I then wanted to add more suspense after hearing it in Mitsuha's theme, so I added legato strings to play dissonance right when the piano is heading to the other key, and as a pause about here. The suspense, the drama. After listening to the high school's theme a little more, I thought I could play around with things I've heard and sound a little more like it, but it was in 3/4, and although I tried to transition it into 3/4, it just never sounded right. Sounds like a skill issue. So I thought a solution would be to have the notes play at a 1/3 beat instead, and tried figuring out how to make that bouncier staccato sound with the piano. Doing so by shortening the length of the note by a lot. Oh, but this is still huge though. Like I'm sure it has like a great personality and a lot of depth. But this is how it sounded like so far. I try to make it feel fun and joyful in some way, but it's kind of hard for me to do that since the only emotions I really know are depression and... From there, I added some individual instruments to play some parts here and there to keep up with this bouncy feel. Wait. What does this remind me of? All unfunny jokes aside, I feel like for the last part, I don't even need to explain anything. If you made it this far into the video, I want you to listen closely to what I have to say in hopes that you learn something from it. I've always wanted to make something inspired by this soundtrack, and year by year, time went by and I felt like it was too late. The problem was I told myself constantly that I needed to be good enough in order to try it out, when in reality, in order to get better, you need to try things out. You have to be okay with diving into things whether or not you fail. In quotations, because you don't truly fail unless you give up. If you want to listen to the full song, I'll link it below, but I'm not going to release it anywhere because I'm not really that proud of it or anything. If you're interested in my musical journey, don't subscribe. Let's get some KBBQ instead. Come on, let's go. Kataware Doki.